Welcome to Unafraid Show Daily Live, where you get the top sports news quickly and efficiently. And of course, we come with the truth. And today we got three topics. First of which, Lincoln Riley's comments at Big Ten Media Day. He is absolutely considering running from all the smoke, and I hate it. I hate it. It is alarming. It is a problem in college football that needs to be fixed. The second thing up, Snoop Dogg being the final Olympic torchbearer for the United States at the Paris Olympics is probably the most incredible plot twist in American history. Who could have predicted that? And the last thing is there's another major change in college athletics. The NCAA is finalizing the antitrust lawsuit settlement on Friday, and the fallout will be felt for years to come. But the silver lining in this whole situation is that the increased number of scholarships in all of sports. But with everything positive that happens, you do have some negatives, and we will analyze all of those. But we're going to start today. Lincoln Riley, he is attempting to cut every corner it takes to win, when in reality, you want your coach to be willing to move every mountain necessary. And he made some comments at Big Ten Media Day. I hated it. And the thing that I love with my college football coach, with my players, with anything else, is that when they say, "Yay, somebody needs to call 911," but not for me. You know that video? That's what I want him to be. And he is considering running from all the smoke. So here is the comment that really rubbed me the wrong way. And this was Lincoln Riley, but this is a symptom that other of college football, that's something that needs to be changed, and especially why college football needs a commissioner. Because the biggest problem in college football is not NIL, it is not the transfer portal, it's not coaches leaving, salary caps, none of that. It is scheduling. That is the first problem that needs to get fixed, that a commissioner would help with some sort of uniform scheduling, especially since there is more conference consolidation with the conference realignment. So Lincoln Riley, he said, quote, Bama was ahead of the curve for years. They did not schedule for their fans. They scheduled to win championships. That's the first thing. And on one hand, he is 100% right. And I would criticize Bama for it all the time. Like, how are you going to be that powerful and you are not scheduling tough non-conference games? And granted, people are like, yeah, but they did schedule Florida State and Wisconsin. But you have three others because you only play 8 conference games in the SEC. Oh, it's a gauntlet, though. But they didn't play Georgia. This is where fans deserve to be, to get the best out of players, the best out of their school, the best out of everything. They deserve it. Because as a college football fan, I want to see great games regardless of whether or not my team wins or loses. And Lincoln Riley said that he would love to keep the Notre Dame game alive, but if eliminating the game would help USC win a national title, then they would look at it. What? Notre Dame and USC is one of the biggest games in college football every single year. They play for the Golden Shillelagh, and fans look forward to that. And so to take that away to win a national championship, it screams scared. It screams running from all the smoke. And I want my head football coach to be running through all of the smoke. I don't think that that sends the right message to your players to say, oh, yeah, we do need a little easier of a schedule. And there was a difference in what Alabama was doing and other SEC teams were doing when you had the BCS, which was a 2-team playoff, essentially, a championship game. And then when you went to 4 teams, where you're only having 4 teams when there was 5 power conferences. So, yes, there was some schedule manipulation that happened. But in the day and age where you have 12 to 14 teams in a playoff, 12 for the next 2 years and then 14 after that, why is there any need to cut corners on your schedule? And this is where a commissioner would give a charge to the college football playoff committee and be like, yo, these non-conference schedules, we not having none of that. You are going to be penalized. You must play 10 Power 5 games regardless. And SEC, bump it on up to 9 conference games. Everybody's playing 9 conference games, 10 Power 5 games. That's it. Schedule uniformity. Because the Big Ten, great conference. And you had Pitt's Pat Narduzzi at ACC Media Day say, you damn right we're playing West Virginia again. And we would play Penn State too if they would schedule us. So he's essentially calling out James Franklin. And then for Lincoln Riley to cite Alabama and what they've been doing when the last time USC played Alabama, they get lost by damn near 50. And this is not just a USC problem. This is a college football problem. We got a video dropping on Unafraid Show about the Georgia schedule, UCLA, because that game in 2025 got canceled. And UCLA replaced the game with Utah, another Power 5 game, probably the best team in the Big 12. And Georgia replaced that game with Marshall. How should Georgia fans feel about that? There has to be some scheduling uniformity, and fans, we have to stop buying into the lie that the national championship is the end all be all. No, the end all be all is great college football because we love college football. And yes, we want our teams to win a championship, but remember, fans, Alabama fans got criticized. Other fans have gotten criticized. Why are you leaving the stadium early in blowouts? Because you scheduled DeVry and you're up by 50 points at halftime. Yes, I'm out of here. Or no, I'm not coming because it's expensive to park, expensive to eat, and I'm not getting a quality football game, and I can be watching other good games at home or partying with the homies or at something doing a honeydew list with the wife. Something. All right, next up. Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg. He is going to be the final Olympic torchbearer when they light the torch for the United States as they head to the Paris Olympics. If this is not the most incredible plot twist in American history, I don't know what is. Go back to 1996 when he was on trial and got and did not get convicted. He was innocent, not guilty of first and second degree murder, him and his bodyguard. And the demonization of gangster rap, of death row records, of smoking weed, everything that Snoop Dogg stands for. If I place you back in 1996 and I tell you that Snoop Dogg not only would be a flag bearer, a torch bearer, but that he would be a beloved American figure, that he would be doing things with Martha Stewart, and that Martha Stewart would actually be the convicted felon and not Snoop. If I had told you that, what would you have told me? George, no way, no how. What do you do? Find God? No. Snoop Dogg is out here making children's albums, children's music albums. What? And this is so America. This is second chance culture. This is you can come from the slums, come from bad situations, and literally change your entire life. But the thing that Snoop is authentic. He is not pretending to be somebody that he's not. And that's hard for a lot of people because we want to present our representative because we don't want the backlash. We don't want this. I mean, it's just like people on my social media. If I talk about politics or something, they're like, stick to sports. That ain't just me. I'm a well-rounded person. I care about football, care about basketball, care about my kids, care about my family, care about what's going on in the country. That's authentically who I am. And Snoop Dogg being the torchbearer, it reminds me of what happened with Canada with the Winter Olympics when they put that moose and the beaver on skates. Just be who you are. We saw that with China when they hosted the Olympics. We saw exactly what China was about. And Snoop Dogg is, I mean, like it is not, it wasn't fathomable when you were looking at what was going on with Dr. Dre, Suge Knight. You had the death of Biggie, death of Tupac, to ever think that Snoop Dogg, blazing up all over the place, that he would be a person that people would be like, yo, we got to protect Snoop Dogg at all costs. We got to protect Snoop Dogg at all costs. Do you realize how impossible that seemed, and how great of an American story that this is? And a lesson to all of us: be you. Be you. Don't be anybody else, because guess what? Everybody ain't going to like it, but somebody will like it. Last thing up, there is another major change in college athletics. The NCAA is finalizing the antitrust lawsuit settlement this Friday, and the fallout is going to be felt for years. And it's not even resolved, because you've already had additional lawsuits being filed for players in the March Madness, saying, yo, you still using my name, image, and likeness without paying me. And this settlement doesn't go back. It doesn't even go back to when I was in college, and I got drafted in '03. It doesn't even go back that far. And you're using Tyus Etney, you're using, Valparaiso and all of these shots, and nobody's getting paid for it. Well, the newest thing that's happened is that there is an increase in the number of scholarships as it relates to this settlement. And there are caps on the number of players on a team. So in football, instead of having 85 scholarship players, that's going to go up to 105. Men's and women's basketball goes from 12 to 15 in terms of the number of scholarships and roster sizes. In baseball, you could have 11.7 scholarships. That's going up to 34. Softball is going up to 25, and volleyball is going up to 18. So in all, there's going to be additional 60 scholarships that are available for distribution in those five sports. So for a parent like me, I've already got one kid in college on scholarship. I have two more athletes coming who are in ninth and eighth grade, and a 5-year old, and we'll see what happens with him. So I got a volleyball player and another athlete, probably a football player. So does this help them? The answer to that is yes, because there are more scholarships available. But here is the thing, is that the schools don't all have to walk up to that number. They don't have to be at that number of scholarships. So you're going to still have, for baseball, volleyball, and softball, you don't, and yeah, for those sports, you don't have to give out full scholarships. You can still give out partial scholarships like they do now. But in football and basketball, any scholarship is a full scholarship. So that's one of the things that, one of the nuances of it. But one of the things that people have continuously talked about this settlement is, how is this going to impact Title IX in the revenue sharing model? So there are additional women's scholarships to balance that out. But here is where the bad part of this starts, is that schools, because you have to remember how schools are run. There is the school, for the most part. Granted, there are some places like Arizona State and other schools that, where the school and the athletic department are playing together. Well, in most instances, the athletic department is treated as a completely separate entity as the university. So some of these schools are not making money. Like you have Cal, a lot of debt. UCLA, a lot of debt. And they're getting loans from the school instead of the school integrating it as part of their budget, the way you don't have that problem. And that means that you're going to have a bunch of schools that look at Olympic sports and non revenue sports and try to reduce their footprint. So that means either the number of scholarships, the amount of support staff, how much they're paying their coaches, any of that, because there's additional money going out in the revenue generating sports. Now, as a part of that new revenue sharing model that begins in the 25-26 season, there's going to be scholarship. Those scholarship restrictions are then eliminated and changed. Now, what's going to happen with the house settlement terms is with the addition of, football going from 85 to 105, baseball going from 11.7 to 34, that's going to change everything when it comes to that $2.77 billion. Now, this means that the new revenue sharing model is going to permit schools to distribute of upwards of $20 million annually. So the big question is, how is this going to impact football in particular? Because in the short term, in the easy thinking, you're like, okay, teams will be able to stack talent. That instead of having 85 scholarships, now you got 105. The best teams are going to stack talent. That sounds good, right? But isn't what we're experiencing out in college football now is that kids are not willing to sit as long and they want to go out and play. So, how can you imagine Oregon, Georgia, Alabama, any of those schools stacking talent the way that, Alabama and some other teams used to back in the day before the transfer portal? So how are they going to be able to stack talent when kids are like, yo, I'm not sitting here. I want to bounce. I want to play somewhere. So I don't think that 105, scholarship number is then going to impact the amount of stacked talent on rosters because kids are still going to bounce. They are. But when you look at schools like Clemson, let's look at Clemson and Dabo Swinney because I do believe that there's going to be a big impact on them. And on one hand, I 100% support Dabo. I agree with the fact that he doesn't take transfers. I do think that he should on some level, to fill certain positions. But the thing that I do love is that Dabo stands on business with his recruiting. So he's telling his coaches, listen, fam, we not going to the transfer portal to fix what you did wrong in recruiting. So you better coach these kids up and get them right. Otherwise, I got to find a new coach. So that part I love because if you're a Clemson player, you don't have to worry about the team saying, "Oh man, this kid's only an 89 overall. We can get a 93 and let's bring him on in." No, you can grow and develop. So now, if you're Clemson and the scholarship limit goes up to 105, so yes, you can recruit as many high school players as that you want up to that number. Give them scholarships because this is essentially limits the place for a lot of walk-ons. So you're going to have more kids getting scholarships. But is Dabo going to be able to hang on to high school players? Because they do want to play. And if high school players bounce and you're not taking transfers, how does that then impact your roster and everything that you have going on? Legitimate question. But this is something that we have to pay attention to and that we are going to continue to monitor here on the Unafraid Show. I thank you guys for joining me. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. Peace out. We will catch you guys next week.